Hi, this is Steve Dirtka. I'm a science and math instructor at Blackfeet Community College, and my project was on the Rocky Mountain snowpack decline and its effect on several species and on human life. Everybody probably knows the story of the glaciers in Glacier National Park, which are disappearing. In this illustration, you can see Grinnell Glacier, one of the more famous glaciers in the park, and the difference in just 66 years is made. The not as well known, perhaps, is that overall in the Rocky Mountains, not only in Glacier Park but along the entire length of the Rocky Mountains, the snowpack has been declining in the last 30 years, and this is leading to observable impacts on plant and animal life. In the future, we could see serious impacts on human water resources as well as several plant and animal species. So according to the results of a study published in Scientific American on May 5th, 2013, since the 1980s, the snowpack declines have occurred simultaneously along the entire length of the Rocky Mountains, with unusually severe declines in the north, which is where Glacier National Park is. They report that the decline in snowpack is around 20%. And the primary cause identified is warmer spring temperatures causing earlier snowmelt. Interestingly, this has been observed by at least one Blackfeet elder as a cause of declining berry harvests, since the snow in the spring helps protect berry bushes from the cold frosts that we often get in this part of the country. Late frosts will damage the berry blossoms if the bushes are not protected by the snow. Two species that have been particularly seen to be impacted by the changing snowpack are the snowshoe hare and the Canada lynx. Research done at the University of Montana by Mills and several others predicted that the color mismatch of snowshoe hares will greatly increase by mid to late century because the hare is not able to adapt quickly enough to earlier spring snowmelt as well as later snow in the fall. The snowshoe hare is the primary prey for the Canada lynx. And here you can see the effect of a snowshoe hare that is still white when there's no snow on the ground. It makes it easy prey for predators. The Canada lynx is especially designed to hunt hares in deep snow. Less snow means more competition from other predators. According to Nature.org, recent research suggests the most important Canada lynx populations in the lower 48 states are near Seeley Lake in the Clearwater Drainage and in the Garnet Mountains, right here in Montana, in the Rocky Mountains. Less snowpack could also mean water issues. Many of the rivers and lakes depend on snowmelt, and much of the water needed by people depends on the rivers and lakes that are fed by the snowmelt. Some of the adaptation strategies that are being discussed in the news and in the literature is to protect lynx habitat. Managing forests also appear to be less susceptible to climate change impacts than unmanaged forests. And in terms of water usage, cooperation among the competing interests to protect rivers and lakes and watersheds and to develop appropriate land and water use policies are going to be pretty important as we go into the future with less water available and less habitat available for many of these species, lynx and the snowshoe hare. If we want to protect them, we'll have to do something about it. Resources that are needed are especially human resources, the people that need to take action. And partly to do that, information needs to be out there to make people aware of the issues that these changes are happening. And that's already taking place. There's a lot of articles out there about the lynx and the hare especially. Field studies, I think, to monitor the lynx and hare and the berries and other species potentially impacted by reduced snowpack, I think are going to be very important to keep track of exactly what's happening to these species. I also believe technology such as Landsat imaging can help to monitor snow cover and habitat health. This slide shows two Landsat images that have been analyzed for land cover classification. This is in a project that I was involved with this summer, a very short project funded by NASA in partnership with Kiksapa Consulting. It was NASA's Tribal College and University project, or TCUP for short. And the land cover classification here is imperfect, but it does demonstrate the technology that can be used to study habitats. For example, this shows between 1987 and 2011 a fairly large area of forest disappeared because of and the cause was a wildfire that occurred in that area around 2005, I believe it was. And so it really shows up well on the Landsat images, changes in the land cover and habitat. Some of the barriers to helping or to adapt to these situations, primarily conflicting interests. Timber and mineral concerns are going to want to use the forest land in ways maybe that will be detrimental to species that are already stressed by climate change. Recreational users are going to also compete with conservation uses. In water usage, there's going to be many competing interests as well between agriculture and cities and towns that need the water, as well as probably recreational use too for fishing and sport. What's the political will and economic will to implement habitat and water preservation policies? Sometimes developing the public support needed is going to be a potential barrier, and even convincing policymakers and stakeholders that there is a problem and it's worth investing resources to protect the hare, to protect the lynx, and to make good policies concerning water usage, to be ready, hopefully in advance, for that time when the water could be shorter, when the habitats are going to be more stressed. In spite of the best efforts, though, the habitat suitable for lynx and hares in the United States is likely to continue to decrease. If global warming continues, habitats for these animals will probably move mostly northward to Canada, and in the U.S. limited to higher elevations where there's enough snow and enough forest protection for the hare and the lynx. Water shortages in rivers and lakes dependent on spring snowmelt could be very severe in the future. Part of this will depend on precipitation patterns. In some cases it's unclear, in some scenarios it's unclear whether precipitation overall will decrease or if it's just going to be in the winter months that there'll be less snow, but it could be possibly offset by increased precipitation in the summer. So the jury is a little bit out on that issue. And those are my references.